Okay, so let's get back into this damn fool idealistic crusade.
Roots. Yeah. Bernardo, we had a question coming in and that I found important, or just more a remark on the 10 books video we did, the books you suggested to me that I'm now reading, that these are all men. And someone asking, are there any books by female authors? And if not, I mean, how do you reflect?
First of all, how does he know they're men? Because, it could be a synonym name they were writing under. They actually had a vagina and not a dick. But in order to, like Karen Blixen, a famous Danish writer, storyteller, who used the name Isaac Dinesen, which was a male name, right? So maybe Immanuel Kant had a vagina. Who knows, right? Or Jung was actually a transvestite. I mean, it's like, who gives a fuck, right?
On that?
The books I suggested are a reflection of my own journey. And
so now he's sort of, oh my God, sis. All the feminists, they might call me a misogynist. Oh my God. Oh, the woman fans. Oh, I better say something now. I maybe may use some sophistry to, make sure that they don't think I'm a misogynist. Because, it's very important for the argument whether or not the one who presents the argument has a vagina or a dick and balls, right? It's very important for the argument. If the argument is presented by a dick, it's not good. And if it's presented by a vagina, it's correct, right? It's so important for philosophical argument that whether you use your genitals this way, that way, or the other way, right? Of course it's so. I mean, who is even asking questions about it? Because vaginas and penises are, knocked down, aspects of philosophical arguments. Everybody knows that, of course, right?
resonated more with those books without thinking about were they written by women or not. I could have easily mentioned books by
Okay, fair enough. Well, that should be an honest statement. Then fair enough. It's just these are the books that I like. I didn't care about whether they were men. I read the books, right?
by Marie-Louise von Franz, who was a student of Jung, and perhaps the top Jungian after Jung himself. But I didn't because of my own personal history. I can assure you that this is not a reflection of misogyny. It's not.
Oh, there it was. Right? No, I'm not a misogynist, right? No, I do like Schopenhauer, who was apparently the biggest fucking misogynist in world history, right? I love Schope, right? And he was basically a all-out misogynist, according to what I've heard at least, right? It's what people always mention when they discuss Schopenhauer. The first thing they say is, I'm not a misogynist. No, maybe Schopenhauer had a few points. He was a philosopher. Apparently he was, honest, tried to be, I don't know. But I haven't read Schopenhauer, to be honest, right? But apparently nowadays people call him misogynist. Okay, so the first thing they say, oh no, I'm not a misogynist, but I have to look at the philosophy. I'm just looking at this. Misogynist is not important now. You just shove it aside and look at his metaphysics, right? Just like Richard Wagner, he was not. He was apparently a Jew hater, right? And so, and now I'm probably going to be flagged for using that term, right? But never mind, fuck that shit, right? But it said, but he wrote some, the what's it called, the flight of the Valkyries from the Nibelungen ring or whatever it is, right? It's fantastic, right? It's extremely, bold and epic in nature, right? Very Germanic, you could say, maybe. But so it's, but I can't dismiss his music because of his Jew hating, right? So I'm just pretending, just because he was Jew hater doesn't mean I can't like his music. Just because Hitler liked Wagner, I can also like Wagner without liking Hitler. And it's this, yes, but I like this misogynist philosophy, but I'm not a misogynist, right?
It may be a reflection of our cultural biases in the past. A lot more men published books.
Hang on, mate, right? Hang on. Wait a minute. Something ain't right here. Hold on. Wait a minute. Something ain't right. I listen to this again. Listen to this carefully, right?
Or cultural biases in the past, a lot more.
I have to rewind a bit more. Sorry about that.
Of misogyny, it's not. It may.
But that's a claim, right? I can't know if he is a misogynist, right? Basically, I can't know because I don't know what the hell is going on in his mind because of the problem of other minds, right? So he can claim whatever he wants.
Be a reflection of our cultural biases in the past.
Our culture is biased. Okay, who are these our? He says our. But cultural biases, if he says our, it must be everybody, right? Or is it confined only to men in this way, right? Our? Is it, is he identifying with manhood as such and have been inflicted with female nagging and shit testing all through the years in order to make him feel responsible for potential or stories about how men were treating women back in the day, right? And he's now responsible, and he needs to bow down on the altar of feminism, right? And call himself and no, I'm not a misogynist. Oh, feminists, don't kill me. Don't take your welfare state, government dictatorship, chick-tatorship, and shove it dry up my ass, right? I'm not a misogynist.
A lot more men published books in the past than women. But one of my favorite books, as I didn't happen to mention because it's not a particular philosophy aligned with idealism, and we wanted to pick books about idealism, but there is a book by Lou Salome about Nietzsche that I think is the most insightful book into Nietzsche's personality ever written. It's much more...
So insightful into... You think it's the most insightful, so you're an expert on Nietzsche apparently, right? And the personality. Who cares about Nietzsche's personality? Who fucking cares about that? Philosophy is not about psychology. It's not about how your mommy and daddy treated you, right? It's not about your emotions and all that shit. It's about fucking arguments.
More insightful than Nietzsche himself. Lou Salome.
Oh, yeah, so somebody else knows more about Nietzsche than Nietzsche knew about himself. Of course, because woman virtue, female intuition it can suck out of the understanding out of you, and they have better overview of your own self than you have yourself because vagina, right?
They had a relationship, right? Or
Well, Nietzsche wished that they had a romantic relationship. They never had a romantic relationship. Nietzsche thought they did, but from Lou Salome's perspective, that never happened. They were friends for many months.
Did she have a relationship with Rilke, I think? Could that be?
And much later, she
with
was
Rainer Maria Rilke, the poet.
Rilke's lover.
Yeah.
The name Rainer was chosen by Lou Salome. Rilke's original name, I forgot what it was, but Salome thought it was not manly enough. But Salome was much older than Rilke by the time they had a relationship. Salome was also a student of Freud, made several discoveries in the Freudian psychology of sexuality. So she was an intellectual heavyweight in her own right, but her insight into Nietzsche was far superior than Nietzsche's own insights into himself. Nietzsche was
far superior. So you're saying Nietzsche was too stupid, but some other being, a woman, was far superior understanding Nietzsche than Nietzsche himself. So Nietzsche was crazy, is that what you're saying, right? And she's so brilliant because vagina, right?
He was notoriously bad into self-awareness in that sense. He could reflect.
The problem with this is all this nagging and shit testing of men has turned into, you have to listen to me because I'm a woman, not because I have good arguments. It's only because I have tits and vagina and maybe a different kind of thinking in my mind because I have tits and vagina. Therefore, you have to listen to me or hire me or whatever it is they want. But it's not a fucking argument, right? It's an argument has to be an argument. Present your argument and let me listen to it. Let me take it on for size and try to find flaws in it, right? Give me the argument. I don't care what your color is, your sexuality is, your sex, whatever it is you're made of. I don't care. And that's what they want you to care about, things that is not about the argument, but some secondary or tertiary thing that is there to make you take something seriously that might not be serious, but because of some other aspect that has nothing to do with the actual argument being presented, right? That's why Disney, Lucasfilm is going down in the drain, because they think that the magical thing to do is being woke and have pink-haired feminist land whales everywhere in Star Wars, for instance, right? It's so fucking stupid, because not even pink-haired land whales wants to see movies with pink-haired land whales, right? It's all nagging strategy. It's all bullshit strategy. It's not about reality. It's a tactic to make you shut up and be afraid of saying what you think and feel out of fear of being hunted down by feminists. That's what, when they see that it works, they keep doing that, shit testing you into submission, right?
Deeply on the subjects that he was engaged with, but insight into himself, he had little. He never noticed something that is obvious in him, which is he had a tendency to attack precisely the people that most influenced.
So now he goes off on a tangent, right? Now he starts talk. He talks about a book that it was written by a vagina, right? So, and now he starts to talk about Nietzsche instead. So he is red herringing or derailing the talking point, right? That's if it's a Q&A, why don't you stay on target, Luke, right? I mean, it's like, okay, let me talk about Nietzsche now that you asked me about women. This crazy bastard who knew infinitely little about himself because of a woman. But let me talk about Nietzsche. He's trying to wiggle his way out of, being a misogynist, right?
The people he owed.
Weak men are pretending to be some kind of, what would it be? Anti-misogynist, or gynocentric, or pandering to women, right? The pandering to women is destroying everything, right? I'm not saying that it's all the weak men or beta males flaw everything, but they are fucking pandering to women, right? Oh, it's a woman, it's perfect, it's so lovely. Oh my God, these women are beautiful creatures, so special, and they're divinely incomprehensible and so lovely, right? They don't care about philosophy and all. No. They care about making OnlyFans pages and dancing on TikTok where they put on makeup and shit, right? That's why they don't write philosophy books. They're more interested in showing off on TikTok and OnlyFans, right? To get male attention. You don't get male attention by writing books on ontology.
Owed most to. Those were the people he would viciously attack. He viciously attacked Wagner. He viciously attacked Schopenhauer. And those.
It's interesting that he's mentioning Wagner. Richard Wagner. I think it would be expressed in German. Richard Wagner, ja. Genau so, ja.
Those were the people who influenced him the most, who gave him most, the people who he owed most to. Salome had profound insight over him, so her book called Nietzsche.
Oh, so he owed most to, because those were those who were closest to his own philosophy. He trusted, and then they shitted on him, and then of course he gets angry, right? It's like, and I don't want to go down that road. Let's carry on here.
I think I could have put it in any list, but it was a list about idealist books. Salome didn't write about it. We don't have in the history of idealist literature. There aren't many women, and that's a reflection of our prejudices in the past.
Oh yeah, it's not because women don't want to write. No, they were kept down by the patriarchy, because patriarchy is so concerned about women writing about philosophy, right? Oh yeah, when men came out of their coal mines after 16 hours of hard work, the first thing they wanted to do is brush off the coal dust, and then find all the women who are trying to write books about philosophy and say, you have to stop that. We have a patriarchy here. Stop that. We have been patriarching 16 hours in the coal mines, right? And now you have to stop this philosophy writing because we have a conspiracy against women who wants to write philosophy books, right? That's how it worked back then, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's about all there is to it.
Yeah, I think...
Yeah, it's not because women are not interested in philosophy, right? Women are conformists, right? They conform to a power structure because they know that they don't have the same physical power as men have. So in order to get things they want, they need to align themselves with the power structure in order to use that power structure to their advantage, right? So if you're coming up with a foundational, rigid philosophy, you might end up pointing out that this, whatever power structure is in place, is immoral or dysfunctional or whatever, right? What woman would want to do that? Then they might lose the goodies they depend on. So they don't want to get to a philosophy that might point out that power structures are immoral. No, they want to wiggle their way around the power structure to take advantage of it, right? That's why you have feminism. That's why you have Me Too and all this shit, right? It's because of the power, the combination of matriarchy and violent government power. right? Because obviously a soy boys like these two, right? Soy 1 and soy 2, they were never going to point this out because they are too afraid of their government and they're too afraid of matriarchy and feminism in order to say things as they really are, right? Because this patriarchy and all their soy boy beta males are going to hunt men down who point out reality, right?
I think so too, but I do think that there could be much value in more female authors, more female thinking. Though saying this sounds always a bit controversial, but what do you think about that? I mean, as a woman, you just have a different experience of the world purely by being a woman and not a man, and that.
How the hell does he know that? Is he a woman? Do you have a vagina, Mr. Hansiman, Hans Bustra, Hansi and Gretchen? What? What the fuck is this, man? Are you different because you're a woman? You're thinking, I mean, let's just, back up. Hold on, wait a minute, right? Something ain't right here. Hold on, wait a minute. If you have an ontology, right? Give me an example. The last 100 years in the Western world, women has been basically as free as men. And if they say they haven't been, they're full of shit because it just want more power and control, right? Show me the female philosophers who has written about ontology. Give me an example of a female ontology. Give it to me, right? Because ontology is a description of how an individual mind works. That mind which is describing that ontology. If I make an ontology, I'm describing my mind. I'm using my mind to create a description of my mind. And that's the ontology, right? And how I see it working. If I need to interact with other people, I need to be in some kind of agreement or concordance with other ontologies. However they may be, right? I need to be in agreement with how I understand, for instance, knowledge and truth and objectivity and moral principle and how they're formulated and so on. But what have women presented? I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just asking for examples, right? Give me some woman ontologies, please. Anybody out there? Show it to me, right? Don't give me this bullshit about, women are held down by men. Fuck off, right? And I would expect that ontology to be identical to my ontology. If it's good ontology, I might find out that there's some better ontology written by a woman, and I wouldn't care if it was written by a man or a woman. If it was better than my ontology, according to my old standards for judging ontologies, I would be more than willing to adapt that ontology, right? But at the end of the day, we must be able to align our ontologies. So ontologies should be the meeting point of different minds. Different in the sense that they are not the same mind. Right? So if you can't agree upon our ontologies, there's no agreement, right? And another thing is, all these men who has written about ontologies, they're not in agreement, right? So what's the difference? Is there all these different male so-called ontologies, are they still within the same camp? And then if women were to write about their ontology, it would be vastly different. When if it's vastly different, then we can have a so-called society, right? We can't have democracy We can't have rulers. Because if it's a man, they're going to overrule the ontology of women. And if it's a woman, they're going to overrule the ontologies of men, right? Then we have to separate them, and then men rule men and women rule women, right? If you can't find common ground, it is appealing to a fantasy of, yes, if women were to write something, it would probably be much better than the thousands of ontologies that are presented by men, right? It's just pandering to women. Show me the actual philosophy, right? All you women out there, please, be my guest. Go and write some fucking philosophy books. Just keep fucking writing philosophy. Write on ontology, metaphysics, everything. Do it. Go fucking do it, man, right? You have my blessing.
Somehow must influence how you, of course, perceive the world and think about it and write about it. So it could also be of much value to idealism. And I also...
Oh, yes. Oh, it's because philosophy with panties is very valuable. Maybe you should go and watch some OnlyFans pages, right? Maybe you should do that and see if there's some female philosophy, some makeup videos on TikTok with women, and see what they say, or dating advice, dating coaches on TikTok and so on, right? Maybe there's some very good nuggets of philosophy there, right?
So say this, reading Jung, and I want to dive deeper in another video with you about that, but Jung talking about sort of the feminine and the masculine also in Christianity, for instance, and there I also see it, right? If we just zoom out and not reflecting on a level of gender, but more on a sort of archetypal way, what are your thoughts there, more sort of on the female and the masculine, feminine, masculine archetype?
Because until very recently, historically seen, we essentially didn't publish philosophy done by women. I think historically we've lost half the human perspective. We've ignored half the human perspective.
Then we is men, right? So he's a misogynist. He's talking about men. He's not talking about everybody. He's talking about men. But it's this beta male, I'm a part of a group of dominant men who are so toxic to women and holding them down in this conspiracy against women. I think I've said enough about this, right? I mean,
because I agree with you.
Cares,
Women
right?
seem to have...
Who cares? Don't care about tits and penises, right? Care about arguments. Care about philosophy. Don't care about the conclusions. Don't let somebody tell you what you should think. It doesn't matter what they are, who they are, and where they are, right? And who they think they are. Or who you are supposed to think they are, right? Give me the fucking argument. And shut up about all the other bullshit political correctness. That's what is needed, the fucking argument. And let me scrutinize it and deconstruct it and try to find flaws in it. And if I can't find any flaws in it, and it seems like an upgrade of my own philosophy, I am more than happy to apply it to myself, right? I'll adapt it immediately. But I'm not going to adapt it because somebody who presented it had tits or dick or balls or ass or whatever they had, right? I don't care.
I don't have access to that, so I can't say that for sure, but I think I'm 99% confident based on my experience of how women live life, that they have a different and incredibly important perspective. I can be more specific. My partner, Claudia, she doesn't need philosophy. She doesn't need anybody to elaborate an idealism.
She doesn't need philosophy. Oh, holy fuck, man. I didn't see that coming. She doesn't need philosophy. Okay, this is a bit of a rabbit hole, right? She does. Oh man, that was a bolt from the blue, right? She doesn't need philosophy. And she's living with somebody who's basically spending all his waking hours and possibly also dreaming about it, philosophy, and hardcore ontology and metaphysics, and writing books about it in one fucking stream, and trying to crusade his way to changing the world using philosophy. But his partner doesn't need philosophy. Oh, man. Oh, God. I'm struggling to find an analogy or metaphor that can describe the craziness of this. It's like Steve Jobs' wife, right? Steve Jobs and his wife. Steve Jobs came up with the idea, maybe you could make a small tablet that could function both as a telephone and a camera and an internet device and you know, also whatever, text messaging and all sorts of shit, alarm clock and what have you, right? And he spends all his waking hours for years and years and years in this, creating this. And then he says, yeah, I'm going to revolutionize the world. And I'm having this great, with this new gadget that everybody's going to love, right? And I have this perfect marriage with this woman who says, I don't need a fucking iPhone, right? It's so fucking stupid, man. I mean, what the hell is this bitch doing in your life? She doesn't need philosophy. She's basically saying you're doing something that's a useless shit. What's the matter with this guy, man, right? She doesn't need philosophy. So what? So how does she work? I'm just curious now, right? Is she a fundamentalist Christian or something? A mind-fucked Buddhist? Or Buddhism is very philosophical, isn't it? So she can't be a Buddhist, right? So she must be a fundamentalist Christian or something. What is it, Claudia, he said? So it's a Latin person, right? It's probably Italian or maybe Spanish, right? Oh yeah, he's from Brazil, so she's Portuguese, probably, right? She doesn't need philosophy. I mean, can you believe this? He's trying to change the world, right? This damn fool idealistic crusade he's on, right? But he's living with a creature he finds to be superior and have been subdued by male patriarchy dominance for centuries. But she has told him she doesn't need philosophy. I can't believe how stupid it is. It's so unbelievably stupid, man. She must be fucking good looking, right? I mean, otherwise you wouldn't stick your dick in crazy. And she must be unbelievably cute, right? I mean, I'm pinching myself mentally now in order to figure out how the hell does this work. He is the idealist revolution. What's the term they use? The modern renaissance of idealism, and the only for the 21st century, the new to change everything He is so smart and philosophy and everybody in the world. But his wife or his partner, she doesn't need philosophy. I mean, it's beyond fucking stupid, this, right? I mean, is it just me? Or, I mean, it's like, this guy is fucking mental, right? What is he doing? What are you doing? Humping somebody who is not interested in philosophy, when philosophy is your life bread, right? You can't live without philosophy. You have wedded yourself and your life to philosophy, and you're having a partner who doesn't give a shit about it. And you're trying to convince me. I mean, you can't even convince the one you stick your dick in, man, right? It's like, oh man.
Her conceptually. Why? Because she lives it. She lives it. Sometimes I'm telling
Lives what? What is she living? If she doesn't have a philosophy, she must have been indoctrinated, have solutions implanted into her about how she's supposed to be, and she's not going to challenge it because mommy and daddy and whatever, right? It's all mantras and dogma and threat of violence in this death cult called Christianity, or whatever it. I don't know if that, but it's very likely to be that, right? And she doesn't need it because it's going to challenge the bullshit. That's why she doesn't want philosophy. Because it's going to end up challenging all the bullshit her parents told her to conform to, otherwise she would be kicked out into the street and excommunicated like Spinoza, right?
Oh, and she listened very politely, very carefully, and I see in her eyes...
Oh, very politely. She's a nice little, go along girl. Yeah, she does it, but she probably rolling her eyes while you're sitting there talking about your brainy thoughts, right? Rolling her, crazy Buddhist, fundamentalist Christian eyes or whatever, right? While you're trying to convince her or tell about your big, life upholding hobby of philosophy.
That in her mind, it's like, duh. No, I mean, it's like, of course.
Of course it's given. I already been there, right? Why do you need to philosophize about it? It's already given to me. I have it because I have tits and vagina. I'm a woman, right? It's just stupid men who have to do this philosophy and have to think. I already know it. It's been implanted in me, right? So you don't need philosophy. You understand that, right? Yes, you go out and spend your time and make some money and bring it back to me so I can get some of your money, Mr. Beta Male Beta Box, right? I'm only with you because you're very rich and used to be a CEO of a big European company. You have a big, savings account that I can suck out of you, right? If you were a poor dude, I wouldn't spend a fucking minute on you. But because you have a lot of money, I can go and be an artist. And you can, pay for my life. And I will maybe give you access to the temple between my legs, right?
Isn't this self-evident? Why do you even bother, saying this? And I find it fascinating.
Oh yes, it's fascinating. She has been indoctrinated with Christianity or religion or something similar. It's fascinating the child abuse that has been inflicted on her, right? Because I was also being inflicted with this child abuse. I just rejected it and started philosophizing instead. And I find that my big mind daddy, right? Because I have daddy issues.
She influenced a lot, particularly one of my books, More Than Allegory.
So you're inspired by her child abuse, right? Rather than confronting the bullshit her parents and your parents probably inflicted on you, right? Rather than pushing back against this awful child abuse called religion, you're going to embrace it and say, oh, she's so brilliant, right? If I'm not saying that she's brilliant and other men are misogynist, she won't be with me because she's a sort of a pink-haired artist, misandrist, who is an artist and want me to pay for her life. That's why she's with me, right? She doesn't need philosophy. She only needs my money. And it's nice to have a dildo that can talk, right? So,
like direct way of relating to nature without conceptual intermediation. I was fascinated.
oh, it was so fascinating when it was a woman speaking. Oh, I'm pandering, right? Oh my God. I'm not going to get laid if I don't tell her she's brilliant without philosophy.
And does that overlap with sort of right hemisphere in sort of Ian McGilchrist's sort of way of looking at the world, left-right hemisphere?
It's not literally left and right hemisphere. We are talking about statistics, and it's a metaphor, left-right hemisphere. But given the metaphor, yeah, it definitely relates to that. I mean, I don't remember being a woman. Perhaps what I truly am is everybody, right? And the same applies to everybody else.
What?
But in my
I don't remember being a woman. Oh my fucking God. What is this, man? I am everybody. But I don't remember. So it's this mind daddy thing, and everybody is everything and then dissociated. So everybody has some kind of participation in being both man and woman and what a transgender, whatever, right? But he just doesn't remember what it's like to be. It's like he's fitting the narrative, his philosophy around the narrative here, right? I mean, can you believe this? I don't remember being a woman, right? Check your trousers next time. If there's a dangly bit, right? It's likely that you're a man, right? And if there's no dangly bits, but a cleavage of some kind that is sort of 2 slabs of liver, right? You might be a woman. Check it out, right?
Associative state right now while I'm alive. I don't have direct access to the woman's perspective, but I keep on getting tantalizing clues that tell me, and I don't want to sound the opposite of a misogynist now, because I think nature is
which is what is the opposite of a misogynist, right? Isn't that a gynocentric, woman-pandering beta male who's going to accept whatever bullshit women inflict on him and say, oh, you're still so nice.
Mentoring this regard, but the grass is always greener at the neighbors, right? So from my male perspective,
A male perspective? That's interesting. Is that a part of his ontology? I would like to know. Right? The male perspective? When you're looking at your dashboard, are you having a male perspective about it? Is that a part of your... How do you describe that in your ontology / metaphysics, right? I would like to understand. Or are you just spouting bullshit in order to pander to people here, right? Is this just a charm offensive to make people feel, oh, he's so nice to women, I guess I have to follow his philosophy? Though his partner hates philosophy, right?
Jealous of the kind of access they seem to have. It's more direct, it's less laborious, it's less cumbersome, it's more natural.
Oh yeah, men are so stupid. They are so laborious and cumbersome. Men are bad. Yes, women are good because they have it already. They have implanted the correct understanding without philosophy in them, right? For some magical reasons I can't explain because I don't remember what it's like to be a woman. Oh my God. how much more is there of this bullshit, man? Transcending gender and individualism. Oh, God.
Elegant, yeah, that is less plagued by self-doubt, by...
Self-doubt? Speak for yourself, mate. Right? If you have self-doubt, it's on your own account. Don't lump me into it, right? Because you're talking on behalf of all men in the world, apparently, right? Men are so cumbersome and, laboring. Oh my God, they also, they spend all their time down in these coal mines, right? Stupid laboring men. They are always down in those coal mines or those oil rigs and those, paving the roads and stupid shit like that, right? Women are the flowery creatures who have all the solutions.
When you stick with your thought and you never come to an end, you get into those conceptual loops. They don't.
That's your fucking problem. You nailed it right there, mister, right? You are living in all these conceptual loops because your foundation of your philosophy is a concept. It's a concept, it's a metaphor, right? It's not a concept, it's a metaphor. But I think that's what he means. It's abstractions. It's abstractions and imaginations and theories and all that shit. He's trying to combine into a ontology. It'll never work because that isn't ontology. It's not foundational. That's why you're fucked. It's dysfunctional what you're doing.
They don't seem to have that.
Oh, he's so smiley and man, right? Oh, he's sitting there pretending to be so nice. Though it's not long ago he spewed his venom in that TOE interview with Tim Maudlin, right? He went all ballistic on him, right? Because he said the word silly after he insulted Tim Maudlin. Tim Maudlin used the word silly, and then he went all crazy and said, stupid, you're stupid, screw you, asshole, right? He went Terminator on his ass, right? And now he sits there, I can smile, and women are so nice. Oh, my partner hates philosophy, but I love women's, right?
So yeah, from my biased male perspective, the grass is greener.
Oh, the biased male perspective, the male gaze, right? Oh, men are bad, women are good. Oh man, come and buy my books, right?
On their side.
Yeah, but it transcends gender in a sense, right? We just did a video on Heart and Mind, sort of our origin story as Essentia Foundation, a story about you and Fred Matzer, where I thought Fred being sort of the heart, you could say the feminine, and the more intuitive, and he, of course, is also a man. So it also has to do with
Of course.
energy.
Why is that, of course? In these days, nothing is given, right? I identify as a male presenting. What is it I'm presenting? I'm a male representing transsexual lesbian, I think, right? I have a very, very large clitoris. I'm a male representing transsexual lesbian. And don't you fucking attack me on my pronouns, right?
So how to say that, but I mean like aspects. Whereas you stand sort of towards one spectrum, sort of. But
yeah, I am unbalanced. Jung would say that the goal of life is individuation, and individuation entails folding in all the opposites into that which you are. So it entails folding in the feminine aspect as well. That comes with maturity. Now, Fred has that. I don't think he always had that. It's important to keep the context and the history in sight. We shouldn't get depressed because we are not where Fred is. Fred is 78 years old now. He has had a rich, intense life.
So what? Rich intense? What is that? it's like he's using sophist terms to make it sound like this guy is just so great, right? It's not that he made millions of gulden in the Netherlands or euros in these days, right? Probably on the backs of American taxpayers through the Marshall help that helped reconstruct the Netherlands after the bombings of the Second World War, right? He made millions, or his father did, and he took over the company. And now he's trying to hide his fortune in in a foundation, just like Bill Clinton and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, right? That's where rich people go and hide their money, so that the little hardcore paying taxpayers, the poor people, won't get access to it, right? He's just a useful idiot. He's the little crazy boy who's useful for the real power structure, right? Who wants to keep the money to themselves.
That led him to be where he is now. That doesn't mean that it's hopeless for us. When we get to 78, we have a shot at being where he is. Maybe not all the way where he is, because he's an exceptional person, but being closer to that.
My master, Emperor Palpatine, he is such a great person, yes. But I'm going to use my force, my idealism on you, right? I will choke you to death. I force choke you if you don't. I like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings analogies, right?
So Fred has had the benefit of time. He has paid attention to his life, which is something that we can't say for many other people. He has
and how you keep your money away from other taxpayers, right? Hiding them in foundations and all sorts of, virtue signaling, helping Africa things, right? Helping the world to get to Christianity through idealism in the Essentia, right? And things like that, where you can hide your money, right? Because you're so virtuous, right? Oh my God.
That impulse to pay attention to what was happening to his life, which helped him be where he is now in full awareness and not blindly. But we have a shot. I have a shot. I tell that to myself.
You do have, and you already had your own journey, right? You said that had I met you like 10, 15 years ago, it would be a lot worse.
Geez. Claudia, my partner, says it to me. Because I tell her stories, and she sees photos, and she knows the context of my life, and she says, "Oh, had I met you then I would not be with you."
But what are you doing, mate? You're contradicting your own statement about free will. The could have been is useless. Maybe he's saying
becoming more feminine every day. I have a fun.
No, he doesn't. She says, if I have met you back then, I would have done it differently. But you can't do that according to his standards. He doesn't say that he mentioned it, and he possibly, I can't rule out that he's not mentioning that after she said that, he told her, well, you can't go back and change what happened, right? You can't fabulate about your will to do this, that, and the other based on something that happened in the past. But he doesn't do that. He doesn't mention that. So I have to deduce that he is accepting when someone with tits that he used to rub his penis against says that she wouldn't, if she could go back in time and change it, she wouldn't have done things the way she did it now. So he's violating his own philosophy here implicitly, right? About free will.
You do have, and you already had your own journey, right? You said that had I met you like 10, 15 years ago, it would be a lot worse.
Geez. Claudia, my partner, says it to me. Because I tell her stories, and she sees photos, and she knows the context of my life, and she says, "Oh, had I met you then I would not be with you."
Give me a fucking break, man, right? You're not even adhering to your own philosophy, so you're basically full of shit, right? You're violating implicitly your own claims about free will earlier in this same video, right? Had I done this in the past, I would have not have done it differently, right? I mean, I keep pointing out the shortcomings of this pretender of a philosopher, right? Look at that, straining pretense of a nice smile there, right? Oh my God, I'm trying to be so nice to you, right? Have a nice day. See you in the next one.